All right, I hope yesterday you received the recording, last recording. If anyone missed out, please share your details. Okay, so today we'll just go with a practical session, whatever we have did in the last class, the explanation, how we are going to process, where is the ETL is used, where the data factory is used. That basic we have discussed in tomorrow's class, in yesterday's class, how the data comes from different sources, the files, databases, the cloud databases. All these databases we are merging by using your transformations. Okay, we're combining the data, a different formats data. We are loading into one staging area. Maybe in real time we have a staging area in form of data lakes. Right now we have databases or some other storages, and from there we are using different loading process. So generally, whatever the SQL Server engine you use in on-premises, in cloud also, we use same engine, but here some slightly change. We call Synapse Data Warehouse, Synapse Dedicate Pool, or Serverless Pool. So not to use the same engine, they implemented one concept called Synapse Dedicated SQL Pool or a serverless pool that works on a basis of distributions technique. Okay, you no need to do anything. While creating, you have to specify what sort of distribution technique you want. It will be faster compared to your on-premises data warehouse. In on-premises data warehouse, you are using the same SQL engine. For SQL database also, for data warehouse also, you're using the same SQL engine. When it comes to your cloud in Azure, we have Azure Synapse. The model we call Synapse Analytics. Okay, going further, we'll discuss these points. So this is how we used ETL in real time, not only just developing the report here. These developers, that is the reason these developers are required to knowledge on ETL development. Only one time report development and sitting and taking a lakhs of salary, that doesn't mean makes sense any. So this team, in case if these reports are not working or not, you have any kind of requirement on reporting, so you have to work on some sort of development or support, some monitoring on ETL side. So nowadays in companies also who have knowledge on Power BI, in company itself, they are taking, these people are asking to go through this data factory instead of hiring separate. So for Power BI developers, definitely, for any reporting developer, definitely you need to have basic ETL knowledge in this period. This is not like earlier periods, you have individual tool, go with that. If the workload is more, then you have to distribute. Yes, in some sort of MNCs companies, as I said, dedicatedly you have to work on specific tool only. Okay, some sort of companies you have to dedicatedly work on specific tool itself. Where you, what is your role? You have to work in that role. All right. So this is when you see, when you talk with the client, when you discuss with the client in the client's meeting, when Scrum calls, daily calls, stand-up calls, whatever the calls you have in your company. Company to company, they change the calls. Daily call you have to report, Scrum call you have, stand-up calls you have, regular meetings we call. So when you discuss with the client the requirement, you don't see all these pictures. You only discuss with a high level of information. You only discuss with the architecture, how it works, how it builds. The people doesn't know the client side, what they are doing in the data factory. You're just saying, okay, we are using this sort of service to process your data. Client doesn't know what component you're using, what data set is, what link service is, what component it is, how to create pipeline. how to use the activities, how to configure that activity. They doesn't know all those things. When we talk with the client will have empty mind. Only they know the process, only they know the whatever the things we required, we have to discuss with them on high level of. If you discuss this picture, no sir, inside if you data factory, inside data factory, we have to work on so or so components. So inside this data factory, when you talk about data factory, when you talk about pipeline, inside that, this is again different technique and different names that we have in data factory. This will not understand by your business team or any client side users. They always discuss on high level of information. Okay, internally when you discuss with your team, when your team calls is there, when your internal work is there, then you're going in depth. So if you go in depth, you will find this picture, data factory. This is a data factory. Inside, if you go data factory, these are the components again, pipelines, data sets, the link services, the storages account, the target. Okay, so these all are internal technique, internal terminologies of your data factory. If I explain this, all these things you'll not understand. So they'll always look on high level of information. Even the reportings also, they always do on high level of reporting. They never see on customer level, which is purchase. Always they look year wise, monthly wise, data, product wise, some revenue generated on high level of information. No transactions level, not transactions. That is what we can develop easily in a graphs. That high level of millions of records, we display only the counts, millions counts, revenue, millions revenue. So he want to do in detail, in drill down analysis, then we provide the details. That is we call drill down report, drill down analysis. That is a separate part. Okay. So let's see how we can going to develop this kind of picture with end-to-end business process. Okay, what we required as seeing the picture, we required storages. Definitely we required storages. We need to extract this data, whatever the data is there. You need to develop this pipeline which extract all the formats of data, which do some modifications inside that. We combine the data, clean the data, transform them. Cleaning and transformation is nothing but like when you doing when you preparing some food, when you're preparing some food, what you do first, you clean them. Whatever, if you want to cook like chicken and all, what you do, clean, you properly wash, you'll put some ingredients on top of that, you'll do that cooking. The same way here also in pipeline, we do this kind of operations, cleaning, making removing unwanted data, applying some logics, what we want. That all comes under the transformations area. And once it is there, we'll move the data to your final stage. And what these people will do, so once to serve this food, they'll serve into different way of design. They'll serve, keeping on food, different ways of design, they'll serve the food. The same way here also. These people only to serve that food prepared. What we prepared, these people only they serve the food to the customers in different ways, different looks. The same way, till you prepare, till here you is your work. Taking that food and serving that, their work is. Who will interact with the client, who will interact with the customers, their work is. Okay, so same thing, we will be developing it here. We have a data in CSV database in other format. We extract this data, we transform them, we develop a pipeline internally, which every day automate the data extracting, loading, and transforming into this data warehouse or database. And from there, we can generate reports. Okay, let's see practically. So to develop this, one thing is one requirement. Main important is requirement. Any tool you go, when whether it is a Power BI, whether it is Informatica, whether SSIS, data factory, requirement is very important. Understand the requirement, what we want to develop this. If I am having just data factory, it doesn't mean just having data factory you cannot create. You require sources, you require target, you require components, you require the services. So in this case, what I want here is first I want sources. If I'm having source data, whatever the data it is, CSV, TXT, JSON, TMP, whatever the file format is, the data, once you have a data, the data may be anywhere. The data may be data lake. The data may be in Gen 1, Gen 2, blob storage, on-premises storages, or databases, MySQL, MS SQL, whatever it is. First, you need to understand that. Then your destination or your target or your sink, where is that? Where to copy this data? I want to copy this data into some database, then select that database. In between, do you want to apply some logics, or you want to remove some raw data, unwanted data? You want to add some new columns, or you want to apply some logics on top of that? That all comes under the transformations area. Okay. So first we'll create a source. First we'll create a source, then we'll create the target. Once you have a source and target, we'll go with the data factory ETL tool. ADF. Okay. Let's see how to create. So to create this one, you need to have basic Azure account. Okay. You need to have basic Azure account. What you want? You need to have basic Azure account. We call as subscription. So in Azure, you only working with portal. What portal? Azure portal. This is the store. Whatever you want to purchase softwares or license, sorry, the softwares, sorry, we call as services. I told you don't call software, services and resources. But just time being to understand, I'm saying a software, but services or resources. What service we want? We want, let's suppose storage account, Azure storage account to store some my source data. What other service we want? Azure SQL DB. Tables are required to store some data, target data to store here. What else will be required? Azure data factory is required to process this data from source to target. What other service required? Power BI to display the records, to display the data in visualizations. End to end, I'm doing it. Okay, let's see how to do this one. So first is account is required. So account are different types here. In regular class, I'll tell you what are different types. In next class, I'll tell you. For time being, let me go through my account. Log into the portal, portal.azure.com. So if you have any questions, doubts, you can please list it out. Once the class is complete, I'll answer all your doubts and whatever the questions that you have. Okay. All right. What we want? Storage account. Why we require storage account? Because we have data here in this area. So I'll simply go and search. I want Azure storage account. Don't worry, I'll explain all this about portal. For time being, just to show you demo, I'm directly creating it. No need to worry. From basic, we'll learn. Okay. But in real time, if you want to storage account, you have to estimate how much transactions you are getting, how much this you are getting, how much data it is you are getting. All these things you have to list it out here, but very simple. Vinay Tech resource group. Under that, this is my Azure storage account test. And physically, as I told you, there is a data centers. You cannot store wherever you want. You have a proper document, technical document, where your company is having agreement with specific location. Store that. Where the applications are hosted, store that. Okay. East US review and create. That simple it is. At the same time, I can parallelly work on other service also. Parallelly, I can go to the one more tab. I can work another service called database. So again, database are different types. Okay. I want database. I'm creating. To create the database or to create the SQL Server on premises, I told you in the last session how many steps you have to follow. But here in one page, you can create server, one page, you can create database. You just need to fill like a form. This is my project. Under my project, I want customer DB, customer database. But what is a server? I don't have any server. I'll create server. Vinay Tech SQL Server new. This is my server. Physically, where we are storing again East US. Where you install physically, when you install in your local system, you install in your C drive. But here, where you are installing in location, wherever you want, you can change it. You connect user ID and password in your system. Same way here also to connect to the SQL Server, you want user ID and password. In a C drive is full, you cannot increase the C drive space. If the C drive is full, you cannot increase the C drive space. If it's 250 GB allocated, you can have 250 GB only. If you increase 1 TB, then the system, the architecture should support. If not, there is a degradation problem. There is a performance problem. There is a performance issues. But here, if I select my storage, how much capacity I want, 1 GB, 2 GB, 100 GB, 500 GB, how much GB you want, you just select here. How much performance you want. This will be charged. How much even you select 110 TB also, it will not charge any single rupee. It will charge for your performance, data, transactions. You see here, it is multiplying with the cost. It is charged for a performance. It charged for CPU. It's charged for processors. It's charged for input output units, not for storage. So if you select 1 GB also, later also you can configure how much you want. Okay, how much you want, you can later also you can configure. I am selecting 1 GB for time being. It's okay. And you backup every day. It takes a backup. You don't need to worry the redundancy. Whether you want to take locally, zone wise, geographically wise, you can take a backup. Don't worry, I'll explain again all this in detail level. All this detail we'll discuss in later class. Okay, I'm just reviewing and creating the estimation cost per month. That doesn't mean it will charge immediately. Is the costing per month divided by 30 days and your performance. Okay, just review and create only one page.
I have a doubt. Can I ask?
Yeah, please.
For example, if we create this SQL database and we use for 1 hour and we delete the resource group, how much it will charge?
Very minimum of rupees you charge in rupees.
For example, it is
Anything.
per month 384 rupees.
Yeah,
So immediately after 1 hour of practice, I deleted the resource group. So whatever the database associated with the resource group, anything, everything will be deleted. So how much it will charge?
that is what I'm saying. It will not charge that rupee, just 1 rupee or 2 rupees. That's it. Not
Okay.
immediately. That is what we save that save only. That means once the class is complete, I'll drop complete project.
Yeah.
So it won't charge. So monthly I may get 100, 200 rupees. That's it.
Okay.
Monthly. If once the practice complete, you can delete it.
Yeah.
So some services will not charge any single rupee also. It is a hourly basis.
Okay.
Within the hour, if you delete it, it won't charge. Like virtual machine systems, like your data warehouse, it charge basically hourly basis, and this will be charged based on the query basis. How much capacity you are triggering that integration units, it will charge. Even 380, 384 it is showing, but it won't charge 384. That means how much queries you are firing it, how much you are utilizing the resources, accordingly charge. Even after completing, if I delete, it won't charge.
Okay.
So some sort of services are fixed one, some sort of services are hourly basis, some sort of services are minimum charges. So there are different categories that we have. Okay, accordingly we have to make sure it. So
Some are free services also, right? Azure Data Factory is a free service.
Azure Data Factory also it is charged,
Okay.
because when you run the pipeline, it is charging the integration services. That is, we have a charging basis data integration units.
Okay.
Now this database will charge data transactions unit. Your data warehouse charge data warehouse units.
Okay.
So unit base it charge.
Okay.
Okay. So definitely there will be a minimum. So make sure that once your class is complete, you can delete all your resource group so that it will won't charge any single rupee. If you want, I'll show you my last few months budget, because I have continuously taking 3 4 sessions. We are, so for high level topic it will charge, but you don't need to worry. Microsoft giving you 200 USD dollars.
Yeah, yeah. I opened the free trial account.
Yes, Microsoft giving you 200 USD dollar, 13 to 14,000 in INR they are giving you.
16,000 because into 85 rate.
Yeah,
Right.
16 or 16. This maybe changes. That is what it is fixed for 200 USD dollars.
Yeah.
So it may be in Indian currency change continuously the pricing, but you will have this amount with your credits. You cannot withdraw this amount. You can practice this amount with the services. You no need to
Okay.
pay from your pocket.
Okay. Every month they only $200, right? Every month they'll lead out $200.
Not every month. So only on basis of your account. After 1 month it will expire. Whether you use or you don't use, it will drop that amount.
But it is showing 12 month trial, right?
Some sort of services are free for 12 months. When you go to this Azure portal, see here when you go, when you click on try for free, here it will show you some sort of is free for 12 months. Some sort of services. But you cannot go all the services free. You required for some credits which they are
Okay.
giving you. Okay. So don't worry, I'll explain you again in this class. For time being, we have created source. Let's go to this account. This is my storage account, and I'm storing under one service called blob, binary large object format data. We are storing it here. So here is my, let's suppose, source container. Container is nothing but like a folder. Okay. Inside a folder, I'm storing my files. Can I'll just store my file. Do we have any data here? Let's suppose I'm storing one file, and this file having some data, country wise data. Okay, this is my country wise data we are having. So ID, employee name, and their address. So we want the details. So client will not ask you which customer ID, which purchase, or which customer ID which having. He want country wise, how much salary is this, country wise, how many employees are there. This is what they see, high level information. So we want to show this report. So data is ready. Can I go to this SQL server? It is also created. This is my server name. I don't have any elastic pool. This is online currently. And how it is charging, how much capacity you're having currently, 1 GB. If you want tomorrow, you want to set it, you can increase it. Just simply go on left hand side, how much GB you want, just increase. In case you are getting more transactions, you want 2 GB, 100 GB, 500 GB, just increase and click on apply. That simple it is. Okay. For time being, I'm just selecting one more GB. Okay, 2 GB I'm applying it. Click on apply. It is scale in and scale down. If you go and check in monitor tab, And you don't require DBA team to tell you how much GB it is left or how much GB it is. You can monitor everything with the graphs. Okay, 2 GB we have, that is database. How to connect to this database? That is the question here. So there is on left hand side, there is a editor, SQL editor. No, sir, I don't know about SQL editor. I want to open, I am good at SQL Management Studio. This is a platform, on-premises platform. I want to open here. I want to work with SSMS, which I'm working in on-premises SQL Server. I want to open here my cloud server. How to open your cloud server? Server name, you know. Copy the server name, paste it. User ID, you know. Just now we created user ID also. Same name as server name. Password also, you know. But as I told you, this will not connect directly. If you remember, today I explained one topic: private cloud, public cloud, and hybrid cloud. This is your public cloud. You created the database. In private cloud, you have a VPN network. But in public cloud, if I know user ID and password also, you cannot connect until unless you are the authentication are given or not. The IP address is given or not. You have to give authentication. So you have to give proper authentication. For that, I'll tell you later how to give authentication and all. So don't worry, for time being, I'm just selecting this option and I'm just go and I'll create and connect. It is connected. No, sir, I don't know SSMS. Can you please explain me in the cloud itself? Customer DB, whatever we get, but we don't have any tables. Please explain in the cloud also. Yes, definitely. So let's suppose if you want to create table, create a table. If you don't know how to create table, I'll explain you how to create table on runtime also. Customer data, customer ID, customer name, customer amount, customer location. Okay, this is my table. So we don't have any data. What is the purpose? Data table is ready, table is created, data is uploaded. Let's go with a service. We extract, load the data, and this team will start working on data. Okay, now see here, destination is ready, source having file, and what we want ETL tool, that is data factory tool. Okay, now see here, I'll show you how it charge. Same. So it is, if it is by default, it is a version 2. There is a version 1, version 2 also there. So it is implemented in version 2. There is a GitHub process, there is a DevOps process, code merging. We call as code storing or code merging. We have two options, GitHub or DevOps. We'll discuss about GitHub, same process. GitHub or DevOps also same process. Okay, for time being, I'm making it later. I'll review and create. We'll discuss the separate class. I'll explain you that time, okay? This is my source, this is my target, and I'm creating data factory. Done, data factory created. Now I'll just go to that development tool. This is my development tool, launch the data factory. I just need to configure it. You just need to configure what is your source, what is your target. So the only three tabs you have to understand. One is development. What you develop, you have to take that connections. What you develop, you have to automate. That simple it is. Only three tabs. Click on pipeline. The pipeline is about loading the data from blob source to Azure SQL table. This is my pipeline. Okay, pipeline name. What activity, what action you want to perform? Copy data. So yesterday somebody asked, okay, what is the that feature that we have in data factory that compared to other factory? that are compared to other ETL tools, what feature that we have. So you can see when I go with the new connections, you can have this many sources. I bet you this connections you won't find any other ETL tools, neither in AWS, neither in SSIS, neither in Informatica, neither in any other tools. Yes, definitely maybe they'll coming updates they'll add, but in current situation, even in Databricks also, if you want to take any of these sources, you have to write a coding in Databricks. But here you don't need to write any coding. Whatever the database you want, you or whatever the sources you want, either it is a Azure services, either it's a databases, either it's a file services, or any general protocol, NoSQL databases, or any other specific apps, you can get easily data. And maybe this is not like a tool, it is a fixed tool, it is a cloud tool, it is controlled by from Microsoft, and they will keep on updates. In the last 2 months back, they newly added these components. We don't have earlier. This is like this is not like a physical tool. This is like controlled by your Microsoft. They'll keep on updates, which doesn't affect to your development. This is the change data capture, which is for incremental load. This is for transmission. I don't know people who are from Power BI, they know what is Power Query. For transmission, they use generally. That also we used here. Newly component added. So they are testing under this one. Still we can use it under preview. Still we can manage. So lot of sources in the next is going to become. This is we cannot do. We max to max 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, max to max 5. But here there are a lot of sources. You want from live, you can get the live data. You want API REST, you can get the URL, you can get it. So this is the difference between main in your blob storage, which is easily to manage. If you want blob storage, just search your blob storage. What sort of format, structure, semi-structure, unstructured. But in your other format, you have to manage everything to store procedures. You have to write a big coding. But here very simple. Select and process. This is my source data set. Under the connection called link service. Don't worry, everything I'll explain you detail level. For timing, I'm just showing how it works. Okay. Link service, what is link service, what is data set? I cannot explain you in this class. I'll explain you in regular classes. Okay. I have a source container. This is my source container. In the source container, okay, this is my source container. Under that, we have a file, data logs file, data logs CSV file. Click OK. That's it. Okay. So this is done. Source is ready. Do you want to see the data? Review the data. That data we are extracting here. How we are extracting? There is a linked service between this data to that data. There is a linked service between the storage account to your this one. You want to see the link service? Go to the manage tab and you can see it is a linked service I created here. This having information about your storage account. Same way, I want to create one more link service for SQL Server. Okay, you cannot connect direct service to service. You have to give some connections. So here I want to connect the SQL. Again, if I take SQL, there are many SQL databases are there. What do you want? I want SQL, Azure SQL database. And this is my linked service. It is in the same subscription. It is in the server name. Database name is customer DB. What is your username? What is your password? Test the connection. That link service connection is properly and create. With the help of this link service, I'll create my target. Source is ready. What source is doing? It's copying the data from blob to Azure SQL tables. Source I configured already. Target I have to create. What is the target? Table. SQL table. Azure SQL. This is my data set and this is a customer table we have. I just create a table. If you remember here, I just create a table, customer data. If you don't know how to create table, no need to worry. I'll show you how to create runtime. Click OK. As I told you, no sir, we don't want management studio. You show me in the cloud. Yes, I'll show you in the cloud itself. See here. Go to your SQL server. There is a query editor. I told you. Query editor. Just type your user ID and password and click OK. That's it. You created one table. Do you see a table? Yes, I see the table. Customer table. And run it. No records right away. Whatever table I created here, the same table I can see here. Now with the help of ETL, I'm going to load here. Can I execute? Let's see. So how it is charging? There is a process. There is a settings. You have a charging. It charge based on the data integration unit. By default, it is a 4 unit it will charge by default. Auto resolved. By default, it is a 4 units. Okay, per hourly basis. This is also per hourly basis. How much unit you use. Okay, so each every service will charge minimum amount in the cloud. That is what Microsoft is giving you 200 USD for practicing purpose. So you have to use for practicing purpose 200 USD dollars. Okay, your pipeline got failed. Why it is failed? Yes, very simple. You can understand here. There is a message box. This is your input, output, and this is a picture. When it trying to load the data from here to here, it got failed. Why? Why it got failed? What is the reason? There is a message box here. There is a message box. What is showing? You just need to read the message. What is that message? In message only, you'll get your answer. What's showing? Column ID not found. Which column ID? This ID is not found. ID is there in your table. ID is not there in your table. That is the issue. It's saying that ID is coming from source. It is not found in your target. In target. Yes, it is not there. That's correct. What I'll do, I'll tell. No, we have a different columns in my target. I'll tell now. So this is nothing but employee ID to customer ID because we have a customer ID here. Employee name to customer name. Salary to amount. Address to location. Now it will understand this engine. Okay, this data I have to load here in this column. This data I have to load here. This data I have to. So mapping is very, very important in ETL, any tool. Okay, validate. No issues now. Now I'll run one more time. So this kind of errors also we can handle in the real time because we don't want to get failed in the production. After 1 hour, if running your pipeline and suddenly it got failed, how to handle it? So there is some topics, error handling topics. Okay, it processed. Can I see how much record is processed? There is a one file. There is a read is 32 and written here in the table is 32. There is a data integration unit charge. How much unit? 4 units. I told you by default it charge 4 unit. How much duration it took? 13 seconds. Okay. All right. Can I go and check the data first here in the cloud? Yes, I have data. Proper data. Can I check here in the on premises? I have data. Now from this data, you can generate the report. Generally, when we don't have Power BI, simply what we do, we write a query. Even in Power BI also, you have to write a query. How you write a query? Location wise, they want sum of amount is nothing but your revenue and counts of employee ID, that is customer ID as counts and group by your C location, whatever the customer location is there. This is my summarized data. Instead of 32 records, I can read in 4 records. No, sir, I don't know how to write a query. And the people who don't know how to write a query, what they do? They analyze in Excel. They'll same data, they'll put it here. They'll take this data into Excel and they'll same data they'll generate and they'll share to the client. If you people are good at Excel, they'll write in the Excel. Customer wise, they want a amount and they want IDs count. Can I see the same data here also? When I run my query, if I'm good at query, I'll run this query. Simple. If you don't know query, you can do it in the this one also. Total, total. Sorry, here I used what sum I used. Huh? Okay. Let me change to counts. Got it? No, sir. We want to use in the visualizations. It's not look that level of visualizations. I want to see in proper different visual graph, some pie chart, bar chart, line chart, some different level of reporting. Then people are using some reporting tools. I'm not targeting about Power BI guys. Any reporting your company you use, you have to work on that. That is mandatory. Yes, definitely we will be targeting to the data factory. And there's no doubt in your company, whatever they use it, no issues. If not using, use this method, use the query method, use the Excel method. Now let's go with the Power BI, how to generate these formats of reports. So simply go to the Power BI, your desktop, your services, whatever the tool you have, and connect to the database. Simple it is. So get the data, get the data. What is your data? These are many sources. See, these are added from Microsoft and is added in updates. What is your data? My data is in Azure. What sort of Azure? Azure have different databases, different storages. What is your database I have? I have database. Or if you still not understand, just type Azure database. This is my Azure SQL database. Click on continue. What is your server name? Provide the server name. Maybe this is having full access or not. Let's see. Server name, database, username, and the password. And click on connect. This is my customer DB. I'm having customer DB. And customer DB having how many tables? I have only one table. Customer data. The 32 records. See, this is the same records. Yeah, okay, load it. Load means you're not loading anywhere, just loading in the Power BI itself to generate the reports. Instead of this is not looking good in table format, I want to generate some different formats. That is the reason I'm using some Power BI. Yes, definitely you can do in Excel also. There is a different charts we have. If you're good at in Excel also, that's more enough. You can prepare this many charts. But I want to use my client is using my company is using this one. Use it, no issues. What sort of things you want? You want pie chart? Go with pie chart. What data you want to show? Location wise, the salaries you want to see. Location wise, which salary, which one it is occupying more. You want line chart? Go with line chart. Location wise, the employee counts I want to see. Location wise, the employee counts I want to see. So however you want, you can develop the reports. There's a graphical pictures we have. You can put a filter if you want filter. And this is something called this highlighted. You can easily understand by seeing the business people. Okay, this color is some Canada is using. And if you hover on this, you'll find how much the data it is. This is something called drill through analysis. If I select Canada also, it is showing some this many employees are there. In the Canada, how much it is charging? Some around 26 something. It is a percentage, almost 53% is occupied in the complete locations. And how much customers are there? Six customers. Six customers are there. This is revenue, 26 something like that. No, you want to filter, you can filter the data also. Is up to you. However you want, you can filter the data. So this is just a serving the data to the end users. If you have Power BI app, you can use that reports. If you have tablets, you can use desktop, you can use in Apple phones, you have a Power BI apps. So I'm not targeting to this reporting, guys. Just I'm explaining why, what these people they do. Our main intention is to focus on this part. Not only this part, there are a lot of things that we have, different architectures we have. Okay, every day we do requirements. Our work is only to work on development, ETL development. The data again may comes from different formats. You have to keep on working, keep on loading somewhere, and finally they design through reporting. So this is all the place you have to work, not only just sitting and working on reporting. Okay, that is what you people have good knowledge in different areas. All right,
I have a question. The before slide which you showed will come into data engineering. The total slide.
which one?
This slide.
This slide. This I can ETL development. Yes, this we all we are doing is data engineering only.
Okay.
Till that report develop, all we do in data engineer only. That is what we are. DP203 also we call Azure data engineer only. Okay, all the things we will do in the data engineer and only specific role. You cannot do everything. You are not doing complete management. You cannot do complete ETL. You cannot do complete sources. So there is a separate groups. There is a separate teams. You will be working on dedicatedly. If you are good at ETL, you will be working dedicatedly in ETL. If you are good at DBA, managing the databases and everything, you'll separate developer. If you are good at reporting, you'll have separate. So any tool, if you go in real time, at least be specific on specific tool. Later you can go multiple tools, multiple profile you can learn. There's no doubt. There's no problem. But if you have some base with you, one specific tool, one specific specialist, then you can jump into the other tools. Either you are good at in Power BI, make it Power BI is a base. On top of that, search for other. If you are good at ETL, take that base, learn that complete path, complete course. If you are good at SQL, learn completely base. Make that as a base for your interview also. So with that base only, you can survive in the company. So I have some basic knowledge in Power BI. What Power BI do, it will have knowledge. What Data Factory do, have a basic knowledge. That doesn't work. Yes, you have to be a basic knowledge, but one tool you have to carry with you wherever you go. One, two specialist you need to have.
What
Okay.
will Databricks do?
What?
Databricks. What will it do?
Databricks again, it is a separate engine which works. It extracts the data. It use like a transformations in data factories also. And this will be same like you are managing, transforming, cleaning the
So
data.
it's not the ETL tool.
It is like a you can say ETL tool, but generally we use for a transformations purpose. It
Trans- Transformation migration.
yes, that means let's suppose you want to get the data and you want to clean this data, and again you clean the data and you'll store here itself, cleaning data.
Okay.
This is like a process. In that process, we clean them, we process them by connecting to different sources, and what required data we want, we'll pull this data. It is a serverless engine. You don't require. You can write in Python, you can write in Scala, you can write R language. So we are not focusing much on this data bricks. Yes, definitely we will be covering the topics that all these things we can do in ATL.
Okay.
Here, if you're good at programming, you go with the programming. Definitely we'll cover these points, no issues. All the topics I'll cover. But if you're good at programming, go with this tool. If you're not good at programming, you can handle with UI, with the different sources. The
So no,
transmissions you can handle.
yeah, normally in the market, which has good opportunities, Data Factory or Databricks?
Currently, as we have in Data Factory, yes, definitely Databricks also good because what happened in Databricks? Databricks contain again, uh, that means it having separate engine. So you don't require specific, the comparison, price comparison very less, more faster when it comes to the transmissions area. That is what most people prefer the Databricks, the pricing and the platform that it having, it prefer the Databricks.
Okay.
Okay.